She said it during a good movie, which is rude even by our house rules. We had snacks, a couple of drinks, the couch was warm, and she slid closer under my arm like always. Then, halfway through a quiet scene, Emily paused the TV and looked at me with that careful face people use before they take something away. I love you as a person, she started, but I'm not in love with you. I let the silence sit. She watched me like she was bracing for impact, but not too worried. The bowl of popcorn between us still steamed. I lifted my arm off her shoulder and set the remote on the table. Okay, I told her. That's it. She sounded almost disappointed. That's it. Her shoulders loosened. She laid her head on the cushion again like the announcement was a weather report, something we could keep watching the movie through. I still want this, she waved at the living room. Us being close. I don't want to lose what we have. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd tell a friend later. I would have turned off the movie right there. She tucked her legs under my thigh and tried to hit play. I didn't let her. If you're not in love, I said, we're not doing the romantic routine. We'll adjust. Emily blinked. Adjust how? You'll see in the morning. And then I stood up and took my pillow to the guest room, leaving the popcorn to cool and her question hanging in the dark like an unfinished sentence. In the kitchen at 6 a.m., I made coffee, divided into 2 mugs out of habit, then poured hers back into the pot. Habit is just a decision you've forgotten you made. I remembered. She came in barefoot, rubbing her arms. You disappeared last night. I slept, I answered. Guest room. Since we're not a couple. That's not what I meant, she frowned. I meant, feelings evolve. It doesn't have to change anything. It changes the category. I slid a grocery list across the counter. I marked yours. We split the rest. She squinted at the paper. We never split groceries. We do now. Is this punishment? No. It's inventory. I rinsed my mug and set it upside down. Romance gets romance. Friendship gets friendship. If you're not in love, you don't get the boyfriend package. The what? Flowers, pickup after late shifts, surprise dinners, Sunday reservations, fixing every loose hinge the same day you mention it, and being your entertainment committee. That package. She leaned on the island. Nathan, you're being dramatic. Disagree, I replied. I'm being organized. You can't just switch it off. She toyed with a coaster, then put it down. I still want the closeness. I still want to cuddle on the couch, have our Friday night sushi, our hikes. I want you there. As your neighbor, I can be a great neighbor. I opened the fridge and pulled out the eggs. Neighbors don't hold hands in public. They don't book birthdays 6 weeks out. They don't serve as emotional concierge. They're friendly, they help when they can, and they mind their own lane. Her mouth flattened. So we're roommates? Friends who share rent. Effective today. I cracked eggs into the pan. We'll draw up a chore chart, split utilities, and track shared items. Your key stays the same. My availability doesn't. You're making rules like I'm a kid. No, I'm making rules like an adult. You can't cancel Sunday brunch with my sister. It's canceled. I turned off the flame. I texted her already. Told her it didn't make sense to take the slot as a couple anymore. Her eyes widened. You texted Jess at 6 a.m.? Better than pretending until dessert. I forked the eggs onto a plate for me. You're free to go with a friend. And my office party next week? You promised. I promised as your partner. As your friend, I wish you a great evening. I'll be at my place. This is petty, she muttered. It's precise. I took a bite. If you want the actions that come with being loved that way, you need to be in it that way. I won't counterfeit it. Emily crossed her arms. So what? You're never bringing me flowers again. Flowers are for the woman I'm building a future with. For friends, I bring chips. She stared, then laughed once, sharp. You're angry? No. I told her, and it was true. I'm awake. She tabbed on her phone, face hard. I hope you know what you're doing. I do. I grabbed a pen and slid over the chore schedule I drafted sometime between midnight and 1. I'm changing the locks on the tool cabinet. My tools are my responsibility. If you need something hung or fixed, ask, and I'll tell you when I'm available, if I am. She tapped the paper with a nail. You made a schedule. I did. Her voice dropped. What if I need you, like really need you? Emergency? Call emergency services. A rough day? Call a friend. I'll care as a friend. But the rest, no. She didn't respond. She picked up the pen, set it down, then walked out. I finished my eggs and sent my landlord a note about changing the auto pay to 2 accounts. By the time I left for the shop, I'd also canceled our Friday tradition and moved a concert ticket to my buddy Mike. At the door, she called after me. Nathan. I turned. Are you breaking up with me? You already did, I said, and locked the door behind me. That night, at my friend Lena's birthday dinner, I made the change public. The group was the usual. Lena cracking jokes, her husband Mike with his loud laugh, our neighbor Tara with her endless opinions, and two new faces from Lena's gym. Emily came dressed like a magazine cover, the kind of effort you do when you want a point scored without raising your voice. She kissed my cheek at the entrance, quick and strategic, and slid her hand into the crook of my arm. I removed it gently. Lena noticed first. You too good. We're friends, I told her. Emily cut in. We're good. He's being literal tonight. Tara smirked. When are men not literal? We ordered. Emily leaned toward me like it was habit. You're getting the sea base? I'm paying my half, I answered. Order what you want. She tilted her head. You always pick for both of us. I used to. That was a different line. Mike raised a brow. Did I miss a memo? Memo's short, I replied. Romance actions are for romantic relationships. We're not in one. Emily laughed lightly, the performance laugh. He's making a bit out of it. Not a bit, I said. The food came. Conversation swung toward work. Lena asked Emily about her team. Emily talked like she was narrating a success reel. Then she pivoted to me. He keeps spreadsheets, she told the table, tapping my wrist. For everything. He made one for our dates. Color-coded. Who does that? I clicked my tongue once. The man who organized your move and your dentist schedule and your dad's broken fence. That's who. Mike snorted. I mean, color coding helps. It's sweet, Tara added, not helping. Emily smiled at them, then at me, too bright. It was sweet. Now it's policy. That's the point, I said. Policy saves everyone time. When the check landed, it slid to me like it used to. I put a finger on it and nudged it to the middle. We're splitting, I told the group. We're friends. The air changed. Lena's smile went cautious. Emily blinked again, slower this time. It's my birthday, Lena tried to rescue. And we're still celebrating. I'm just not covering a couple's bill. I pulled out my card and looked at Emily. You got yours. She reached into her bag, hands steady but jaw set. Of course. Tara watched, eyes narrow with amusement. Mike gave me a small nod that no one else would read. On the way home, Emily kept pace with me but a step behind, like she couldn't decide whether to walk next to me or ahead. At the building door, she spoke. Are you happy making a scene? I didn't make a scene, I answered. I made a boundary. You humiliated me. You humiliated me when you tried to sell our past effort as a joke to your friends. That was a joke, right? Upstairs, I grabbed laundry from the dryer and carried it past her. She stood in the hallway, arms folded, expression set to winter. I didn't try to warm it. The next morning, she showed up at my workshop with a paper cup and a pastry box. The bell above the door chimed. I was sanding cedar shelves. Sawdust hung in the light. Peace offering, she announced, setting the box down near my blueprints. I thought maybe I was harsh. I wiped my hands and looked at the box. That's considerate. I didn't want you to feel punished. She slid the cup toward me. I know you like it with cream. That was then, I said. Thank you. We could talk later, she offered, softer. You know I care about you. I just needed to be honest about where I am. Honesty is good. So we can find our way back without all the drama. There's no drama, I told her. There's a change. Can you still drive me to the airport Friday? Smooth as a second sentence, like a pebble thrown into slow water. It's early. I hate ride apps at dawn. I almost smiled. There it is. There what is? She tilted her head. The ask. It's not an ask. It's a favor, which I used to do as part of the package, I replied. As a friend, I can give you a number for a car service. She looked around the shop like a witness would jump out. You're really doing this? I am. Her mouth went tight. She nodded once, picked up the pastry box, then put it back down like she didn't want to owe me leftovers. Fine. After she left, I went to the office corner and opened the shared folder we used for bills. I removed my cards from anything that had her name on it, scheduled a meeting with the landlord to split the lease payments properly, and created a document called House Rules. Simple, clear, no attitude. Guests after 10, ask first. Dishes, clean your own. Shared spaces, neutral. No pretending. That evening, she was flipping through her tablet on the couch. I came in to grab my jacket. A headline caught my eye in the reflection of the window behind the TV. 10 ways to check if he truly loves you. It sat open with a checklist and lines highlighted. Step 2. Withdraw affection. Step 5. Ask for support without commitment. Step 7. Announce emotional clarity and watch response. She glanced up and moved the tablet to her lap. What? Nothing, I said, because I wanted one more day to see which way she'd move. I put on my jacket and headed out. On the stairs, I texted Mike. Tomorrow's barbecue. Count me in. Separate rides. At Mike's place, Saturday afternoon, the backyard was full of dads in baseball caps, moms balancing plates, a folding table with 2 mini salads pretending to be healthy. I came solo. Emily arrived later with her friend Sabrina, who I knew only as a red flag disguised as a yoga mat. The moment Emily saw me, she waved like we were still the couple on the holiday card we never made. She made it a point to stand beside me when people wandered over. Nathan's so helpful, she told a cluster of neighbors. He insists on showing up. Even when he doesn't have to, he just does. I kept my tone even. I helped my friends. Sabrina leaned in, too sweet. You two arguing? You have that post-argument glow. Not an argument, I replied. A restructure. Sounds romantic, Sabrina giggled. A restructure. Mike came by with tongs. Burgers. 2, I answered. No bun. Emily tugged my sleeve. I'll make your plate. That's okay, I told her. I've got me. She rolled her eyes at Sabrina. See? Independent. We ate. The small talk turned to work again. Money. Rent. How everything takes 10 calls now. Emily made a toast with her water like she was emceeing. To adulting, she said. And to men who step up even when feelings are complicated. Then she added, quieter but aimed. Some men do it even without labels. Some men need labels to keep score. A few heads turned. It was clean, it was sly, and she wanted the sting to land without a mess. I wiped my fingers with a napkin and decided the mess wasn't mine. Here's my label, I said loud enough. Friend. So I'll act like one. If anyone needs the boyfriend package, I'm not your guy. Mike coughed into his drink. Sabrina gave Emily that half-smile women give each other when a plan goes off script. Emily's mouth tightened. You're using people as a stage. I'm using a Saturday to be clear. I tossed the napkin and stood. Also, just so we're all on the same page, if you see us out, we're not together. Please don't default to him/her seating charts or questions about dates. Thanks. Sabrina laughed like a seal. Oh wow. Boundaries. It saves everyone time, I repeated. Emily put down her plate. We're leaving. I'll stay, I said. She stared at me like I'd left a door open in winter. She picked up her bag and left with Sabrina, speaking into her phone before she hit the sidewalk. I felt the small ripple of sympathy from the crowd and let it pass. I wasn't going to drown in it. The next morning, Emily handed me an envelope across the table without a word. Inside was a handwritten note. Sorry for throwing you under the bus yesterday. I was frustrated. Can we reset? I miss our routine. And under it, 2 tickets to a comedy show I'd mentioned months ago. It's a peace offering, she said. No expectations. I booked a table. I want us to laugh again. That's kind, I replied. We can go as friends. Her face warmed. Thank you. She was careful all day. She texted me about groceries and bought her own. She cleaned the pan she used and wiped the stove without me asking. She folded laundry and left mine in a neat stack outside my door. The choreography would have fooled me 6 months ago. That night, she put on the dress that always made me look twice and stood in the hallway waiting for me to notice. I noticed and put on a jacket anyway. At the venue, she took my arm again. I let it stay for 2 steps, then removed it. I held the door open. She smiled at the host like we were back to normal. The host smiled back like he didn't care either way. During the show, Emily laughed too hard, touched my knee like a punctuation mark, leaned her head toward mine during the quiet parts. After, she threaded her fingers through mine on the walk to the car. I peeled them off gently. We're not doing that. It's just hands, she whispered. It's a message, I answered. Her face cooled. You're impossible. I'm consistent. We got home. She went to shower. Her phone lit up on the coffee table with a ping. I didn't touch it. I didn't have to. The preview banner on the lock screen was from Sabrina. It was a screenshot of the same article I'd seen earlier, with check marks next to lines. Step 2, Step 5, Step 7. Under it, Sabrina had typed, "You're almost there." Step 9 says, "Pull back perks and see if he chases. If he does, he's in. If he doesn't, he never was." Another ping. From Sabrina again. "So did he chase?" My respect for Emily didn't fall. It folded, quietly, like a chair being put away. She came out in a robe, hair in a towel, humming. She saw me on the couch, saw the phone on the table facing up, saw that I'd seen. She froze for a beat, then reached for the phone, flipped it over, and set it down like she could rewind 10 seconds if she did it slowly enough. "What," she tried, "is that look?" "A realization," I said. "It's not what it looks like. It looks like a checklist." "It was a joke," she said too quickly. "Sabrina sent that as a joke. It's checked. I checked it as a joke." I stood. "I'm not a lab. And I'm not your experiment. You're being dramatic again." "No." I picked up the envelope with the tickets and held it up. This was step 6. Good behavior to reset. Then see if I start paying for perks again. "It's not like that." "Then tell me what it's like." She wrapped the towel tighter. "I needed to know if you love me because of me, not because of what you get to do for me. And the way to know is to take it all, give nothing, and see if I still carry your bags at 5 a.m. You're twisting it." "I'm untangling it." She exhaled hard through her nose, sat, and then stood again because sitting felt like surrender. "I was scared, Nathan. That's all." Scared people ask for reassurance. They don't build obstacle courses. She stared at the floor, then at me. "So what now?" "Now," I said, "we stop pretending. We stop scheduling couple things. We separate everything left to separate. You pack what's yours. I'll pack what's mine. We call this what you called it, not love." "That's extreme." "It's honest. You'd throw away everything because I needed to test. You threw it when you made it a test." I cut in. "I just refused to play." She pressed her lips into a line so thin it almost vanished. "Fine, fine," I repeated. "Move-out list will be on the counter in the morning. You're an adult. You'll handle it. You're pushing me out of my home. It's our lease. We split. If you want your own place, choose it. If you want to stay, we live as neighbors. No more gray area. I'll think about it. Take tonight," I told her. "No more." She turned away. In the morning, the suitcase sat by the door like a witness. Emily stood beside it in leggings and a sweatshirt, her hair up, her face set to efficient. Sabrina hovered near the entry texting someone like she was the logistics manager of a parade no one asked for. Emily looked at my list. Keys, parking pass, mailbox code reset, appliances check, forwarding address. The 3-day core items I never wanted but agreed to because we were building a home. She read it twice. She nodded without comment. Sabrina glanced at her, then at me. "Wow," she said softly. "You really did it." "I did what I said I would." Emily held the keys, then dropped them into my palm. "I thought you'd fight harder." "I don't fight for what I don't want," I answered. "You don't want me?" "I don't want this dynamic," I said. "And it's the only one you're offering." She swallowed. "You're failing the test." "That's the relief," I replied. "I'm not trying to pass." She opened her mouth, closed it, then lifted the suitcase handle. "I'll send for the rest." I boxed the bathroom shelf and the framed photos, I told her. "They're by the hall closet. Take them today." Sabrina gave me a look like she was expecting me to break character. I didn't. Emily rolled the suitcase out. At the door, she hesitated. "You were a good man," she said. "I hope you find what you're looking for." "I did," I replied. "Clarity." She left. Sabrina followed. The door shut. I changed the mailbox code and the Wi-Fi password, called the landlord to update the lease contacts, and texted Lena. "Spare room open for a few weeks if your cousin needs it." 10 minutes later, I got back to the shelves I'd been sanding 2 days earlier. Though it didn't care about my relationship status. It wanted straight lines and honest pressure. The week after Emily moved out, she tried one more tactic. She came to my shop with lunch, the kind she knew I liked, timing it for when my crew would be around. Ashley, my tech who speaks in sentences like they're invoices, raised an eyebrow as Emily breezed in. "Brought you something," Emily announced, loud enough for the room. "I'm proud of you. You've been working nonstop." "Thanks," I answered, not inviting her behind the counter. "You look tired," she went on. "Don't forget to take care of yourself." "I'm good." She set the bag on the counter and leaned with both hands like she owned the surface. "I was thinking we could go to that art fair Saturday. As friends," she added, stressing the word politely. I'm on a job site Saturday, I said. And I don't do fairs right now. You love those events. I used to love going with my partner, I replied. I don't go as a stand-in. The room listened without pretending not to. Ashley looked at the ceiling, generous enough to give us privacy with her eyes, not her ears. Emily kept the smile up by force. Okay, well, you know where to find me. I do, I said. And you know where to find a ride app. Her mouth opened. She closed it. The bag sat between us like a question. She slid it closer. At least take the food. I appreciate it. I picked it up and handed it to Ashley. Crew lunch. Ashley took it, face neutral. Thanks, she said to Emily. Emily's eyes flicked to the bag, then back to me. Right, she murmured. Right. She left. Ashley watched the door swing shut, then looked at me. That was something, she observed. It was a maneuver, I replied. She's going to claim she did the right thing, Ashley said. Then claim you're cold. I don't need the narrative, I told her. I need the boundary. Ashley nodded once. Works for me. That night, I got a text. A photo of the empty bedroom, the closet doors open and bare. Under it, if you won't talk to me, I'll just go. You won't even ask me to stay? I typed back, checklist on the counter. I'll be home at 9. If you need help with the last box, ask. As a neighbor. Her reply, you're unbelievable. I let it sit. When I walked in, she was zipping the last bag. She'd piled the shared items I'd listed by the door. She looked efficient, almost professional. The act of leaving had become her theater, and she wanted one final scene, so I gave her one final line. You wanted to see how much I loved you, I said. What you saw was how much I respect myself. She stood very still. I hope that keeps you warm at night. It will, I answered. It keeps the door locked from nonsense. You'll regret this. Doubt it. I pointed to the thermostat. Take the portable heater. It was yours. She picked it up. Enjoy your rules. Enjoy your freedom, I replied. We're both getting what we chose. She left. I set the chain, turned off the hall light, and stood with my hand on the switch longer than necessary, not because I was sad, but because endings deserve acknowledgement. Then I deleted her from the emergency contact list and moved my boots back to the front closet. That was the last time her name lit up my phone as anything but a logistics note. The next month clipped along. Work expanded, 2 new clients, a small contract with a property manager who valued on time over charm. Mike and Lena pulled me into a bowling night I didn't know I needed. Sundays became simple. Coffee at the corner spot, groceries, prep for the week, an hour at the range, a run by the river. The house felt bigger, sharper, and less busy. I bought a used truck, not because I needed it to feel whole, but because my old one spent more time with my mechanic than me. I hung my own art. Nothing anybody would brag about, but it told the truth. Straight cuts, simple framing, no curls of forced flair. I met Claire because I showed up early to replace a deck. She was the project lead for the complex, a serious woman with kind eyes and a calendar that scared me in a good way. She didn't ask me to carry her bags. She carried her own brochures and her own expectations. You're on time, she said the first morning. It's a habit, I replied. Keep it, she answered. It's rare. We worked adjacent for weeks. She talked when she had something to say. She didn't fish. When she laughed, she didn't look around to see if anyone noticed. We went for coffee after a site walkthrough. I didn't hold her hand. I didn't need to define anything too early. I also didn't run a test. 2 months out, I heard through a neighbor that Emily moved in with a friend on the other side of town and was hopping units to units while she figured out her next plan. She'd kept her job. She still hit the social circuit. The stories came secondhand and mostly neutral, which is exactly how I wanted them. In one, she showed up somewhere with a new guy and made a lot of noise about being independent. In another, she lectured someone about standards. None of it required a response. Once, she texted a photo of the old couch with a question. Do you want it? I didn't answer right away. 2 hours later, she sent. Never mind. I'll sell it. Good. Sell it. Trade it. Burn it. I had a chair that fit me and a table I built. I didn't need a symbol of any chapter. If you're expecting a twist where she shows up crying in the rain, you'll be disappointed. Life isn't a movie. It's schedules and decisions. She made hers. I made mine. The only line that mattered was the one I delivered when she turned our home into a questionnaire. At the door, suitcase in hand, she asked for a final word. I gave it to her. I don't do pretend, I said. Take care, neighbor. Neighbors wave. They keep it cordial. They don't borrow your soul. The other week, Claire and I drove to a quiet lake, ate sandwiches on a bench, talked about replacing the dock planks before winter. On the way back, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder. Change furnace filter. I turned to Claire. Adulting, I said. Sexy, she deadpanned. Wait until you see my spreadsheet, I grinned. She smirked. Color-coded. Obviously, she laughed without looking around to see who heard. I like my life quieter now. It's not an empty quiet. It's the sound of a clean workshop at dawn, the thud of lumber on a sawhorse, friends yelling over a bad bowling frame, a woman who shows up when she says she will, and my own voice not having to argue with itself. If anyone asks what changed, I tell them I stopped doing premium service for people who wanted to pay in compliments. I do friendship as friendship. I do romance as romance. The line is sharp enough to cut, which is the point. People think love is proven by how much nonsense you'll accept. It isn't. It's proven by how much nonsense you'll refuse.